Welcome back to FM Stories. We're about to embark on season 10 of our series where we try to end the dominance of Rangers and Celtic in Scottish football. Last season was outstanding. We won a domestic treble. It was always going to be tough to live up to that this season. But then when you see that they've come for our squad big time, it's almost a completely different looking team. It's going to be from the start of this season. We started turning down bids for players and that just tanked the morale in the squad completely. So it's been rather a big overhaul of the squad this summer. So without further ado, let's get into the action and see how season 10 starts. So we're at the opening day of the season, and as we said, it has been a bit hectic in the transfer market. So things started with Finlay McAllister leaving on the 4th of June. We knew he was leaving because that was a deal that was already done after the January transfer window closed, and we knew that. We knew he'd scored his last goal in the Scottish Cup final for us. We've sent some players out on loan. And then all hell kind of broke loose. So we sold Andrei Klemenko to Rangers because he wasn't really close to being a regular. He hadn't really shown anything since we'd signed him. Noah Paul went out on loan. And Ibrahimovic wanted to play more games, wasn't going to play them, so we sold him. And then we got to the players that we turned down offers for. So we turned down offers for Jorge Rodriguez and Alan Kerr, and that tanked the morale. So Jorge Rodriguez went to Man United for 38, rising to 56 million. Alan Kerr went to Barcelona for 50 to 60 million. Isaac Babadi came back off his loan spell, and we sold him. We sent a young player out on loan to Adrionians. Samson Elise, really practically down tools in the summer. So he's gone to Real Madrid for 25 million, rising to 33.5 million. This isn't even the end of it either. Esteban Ruiz de Galarreta, who would be the ideal replacement for Samson Elise, got his debut for Argentina in the summer, and now he wanted to go. So we've accepted an offer from Augsburg for him. Danny Smith, last summer, at the end of the summer transfer window, we turned down an offer from Man United, and we said to him that if an offer came in for 63 million, we would accept it. And there was a few offers from Chelsea earlier on in this summer transfer window. Nothing really matched that. Arsenal came in with an offer that was close to the 63 million, and it got negotiated upwards, and it's 55 million up to 70 million. But all it requires to get to 70 million is for him to play 20 league games. So it's basically 70 million. And having said that we would accept 63 million, we couldn't really turn around and say, no, you're not going, because otherwise that would have tanked the morale in the squad even further. So that's the outgoings so far. I mean, we're not even into August yet. As far as the incomings are concerned, the first couple of signings we done deals for in prior to the summer window opening. So Lachazar Hubanov, centre midfielder, Bulgarian, we sent him back out on loan to the club we signed him from. Robert Calder, centre forward from Girona, bit of potential. He's gone out on loan to a Scottish club. Juan Medina looks like he might have the potential to be even better than Sheriff Zebra. So we signed him. He again has gone back to the club we signed him from on loan. And then the sort of transfer business that we'd planned. So we knew that Klemenko was probably going, and we knew that Ibrahimovic was probably going. So we signed Andre Nuevo from Barcelona as the Klemenko replacement. Centre midfielder, can play defensive midfield, attacking midfield, can even play on that left wing if we're really desperate for him. And then we signed Luis Roberto as the Ibrahimovic replacement. Ibrahimovic mostly has been used off the left wing as a sort of backup to Laterna last season. So real strong potential from Luis Roberto, and hopefully he can, in a couple of seasons, really develop into a top player. Then the plan, when the offer came in for Alan Kerr, the plan was sign Calvin Ramsey on a free transfer. He can play right back, and we'll move Danny Smith forward to the right wing, which is his more natural position. It might actually solidify us at the back. And then we've sort of been on the hop with all the transfers after that. So we've signed another couple of midfielders. So we signed Luis Ignacio Basore, Chilean international, signed him from Liverpool. Looks like he could be the Jorge Rodriguez replacement, hopefully. And then we signed Thomas Dusink, who could also be that replacement, but also just adds a bit of depth to the squad as well. We also have some incomings potentially coming in. So we've made an offer for Alex Mohapi, South African centre-half, young, really physical centre-half. But Arsenal have also interested in him, so unlikely that we're going to get him. And then once we sold Danny Smith, or once the deal was accepted for Danny Smith, we've gone into Real Madrid, made an offer for Jose as a potential replacement for him on the right-hand side. Really good technically, really good physically as well. So that's where we're at as far as the transfers are concerned. But like we said, we're not even into August yet, so there's still potentially some more action to happen in this transfer window. On winning the title last season, now the board expectation is that we win the Premiership, which at the start of the summer we were big favourites. We had 8 players in the team of in the media Dream 11. Now we've drifted to being second favourites. We do still have 8 players in the media Dream 11, but one of those players is leaving at some point in the near future. So hopefully the players that we've replaced them with can hit the ground running. But it's going to be a difficult start to the season until everyone has settled. We do have 2 new managers in at the big clubs in Glasgow. So Rangers sacked their manager with about 6 or 7 games left of last season. They've hired Barak Bachar as a replacement. He was at Red Star but has been out of the game for 2 years. And Celtic have hired Wayne Rooney to be the replacement to Brendan Rodgers. And he doesn't seem to have done an awful lot at Birmingham in the time since the game started. So that's where we're at as to what's happening in the summer. Now to get into the action and see how we start the season. We're through to transfer deadline day and our first big game of the season against Rangers. We have not exactly set the world alight so far. Transfer-wise, since the opening day of the season, the deals for Esteban Ruiz de Galarreta to Augsburg and Danny Smith that Arsenal went through. Both of the players that we were looking at the time that we looked at the start of the season, the South African centre-half and the Spanish winger from Real Madrid, both of those didn't happen. The centre-half, as we thought, went to Arsenal, and it turned out that we couldn't award the wages of the player from Real Madrid. So what we did instead was we signed Kochis from Dinamo, centre forward, can play wide right as well. Just gives us depth in all of those positions. And we also signed Stefan Rackl, a Swiss international from Juventus. He wasn't happy at Juventus because he wasn't getting game time. And just looking at his physicality, I think he's going to suit the Scottish League pretty well. So the opening day of the season, we drew 0-0 with Aberdeen. We were just not at the races at all. Next game, we won pretty comfortably 5-0 against St Johnstone. And then we beat Partick Thistle pretty comfortably 5-0 in the second round of the League Cup. We then went away to Dundee United and just were really poor. And at that point, the openness of the 4-2-4 suggested that we were struggling a bit. So we've switched to the 4-3-3. The first half of the game against Hibs, we started with a defensive midfielder and 2 in the centre of midfield, which doesn't really suit the players that we've got in the midfield. So although we were 1-0 up at half-time, it was a very early Carlos Medina goal. The second half, we were much better. And in the second half, we switched to a sort of flat 3 in the centre of midfield. And that seemed to work better. So we've got 2 big games coming up. We've got Rangers and Celtic in the league in the next 2 games. Real big test of the players that we've brought in, whether they're of the same quality as the players we had before. One of the added bonuses we didn't mention at the start of the season of all this money that we've got coming into the club in transfers is that we are building a new stadium, the Ian St John Arena, that we're to move into not the end of this season but the end of next season, which is going to give us an extra 7,000 seats, presumably also improving the corporate facilities to get some money in as well. So there's plenty of work going on off the pitch at the club. Just hopefully we can sort of steady the ship at the start of the season and start performing. So this is the side we've picked for the game against Rangers. It's the same team that started the game against Hibs, and we are coming up against a couple of our former players. Obviously, Sota Khan has been at Rangers for a couple of seasons, but Klemenko, that we sold to them in the summer, is in the starting lineup. It's going to be a common theme this season, it would appear, because we've been drawn against Man United and Jorge Rodriguez in the Champions League. So best get used to welcoming players back or visiting former players. So they're going 4-3-3 with a defensive midfielder. We're going 4-3-3 with a sort of flat 3 in midfield. Right, a corner for them. We've got a head on it. Deli Basic is the one chasing it. He's got on the end of it. Infield. And we've moved it on to Basore. Wide to Santos at left back. He's got to the byline, fired across him, but it's straight at their defender and they've managed to clear it. Oh, and Hideros just about won it back. Nuevo looking for Laterna on that left-hand side. Pressuring Sota Khan. It goes down the line as far as Santos. We're coming back with it now. Santos has got there. Laterna pulls it back to Medina. Dinks across the back post. And there's Luis Basauri, big money signing from Liverpool in the summer, popping up with a header right in front of the goal. Basically couldn't miss if you got it on target. Santos, I thought, was going to cross it. Laterna, I thought, was going to cross it. It was Medina in the end that dinked it up. 6 yards out, powers the header past the keeper. And that's 1-0 in front. Ramsey with a throw. Basauri, Medina into Nuevo. And then we've got all the way back to centre half. Medina out wide to Laterna in space. Tries to square it, but it comes back to him. Medina, Santos. And Laterna dinks across up. And Deli Basic's header is easy for Kelleher to grab on the line. And he goes long with the kick. Rackler wins the header. And we're coming back at them. Basauri to Deli Basic. Plays it back, looking for Ramsey on the edge of the box. Medina, Santos. Shot was too powerful for the keeper. And that's put us 2-0 up. And the players seem to be starting to grow accustomed to one another. I thought we'd wasted it here. I thought this pass by Deli Basic was going to get cut out. Ramsey sort of helps it on to Medina. He just shifts it one. Santos hits it. It might have taken a deflection, but Kelleher couldn't keep it out. And that's 2-0 up. Right, coming forward down the left, crossing. I thought I was going to be back passing to the back of the net for a second there, or a penalty for the challenge, one of the two. Rackler into Laterna, turns to go at the fullback, infield, then looks for Nuevo, but he's giving it away. Klemenko just lifts it up forward, but Ramsey cuts it out. Deli Basic, Nuevo. What a goal. Just manages to drift into the box, smashes it across the keeper into the bottom corner, and we're 3-0 up. So Deli Basic into Nuevo. No one went to him. He just shifts it onto his left foot and then just smashes it into that far corner. Right, Santos with a throw. Laterna infield looking for Nuevo. It runs all the way to Medina, whose shot just drifts wide. It looked like it had a bit of movement on it as well, judging by the direction of the keeper. And there we are, half-time, 3-0. And there's not been a sign of a performance like this coming against a decent team so far. But we're doing well. And hopefully it can continue in the second half. Right, we sent the same team out for the start of the second half. There's no need to change it at this stage. Hideroa with a free kick into Ramsey. Gives it away, looking for a dinked ball over the top. Now they're in. Thiago Gouveia. Luckily it was straight at Zebra, but we got away with one there, just not doing the simple stuff. Right, corner, Ramsey to take it, goes short to Laterna, lifts across up to the back post, but they've headed it clear as far as Santos, into Rackler in the box, and he's got his first goal for the club as well. They left him in acres of space there. Obviously not expecting the big centre-half to take a pot shot like that, but 4-0 up. And maybe it's time to... We've got a few plays that could do with the rest by the looks of it, but Santos just plays it to Rackler. No one came out to him, inviting the shot, and the keeper probably should have done better. Right, Dusing goes for goal with a free kick. The keeper does well to keep it out. Dumitru dallied on the ball and then went down. There we have it, full time, 4-0. And signs that we're not maybe going to struggle as much as I was thinking we were going to after the summer transfers. Brilliant performance from the lads. And now we just need to take this same level of performance into the next game against Celtic, because if we can beat them as well, it really lays a marker down to say that we're here to defend this title properly. So going into the game against Celtic, we made one change to the team that started the game against Rangers. We've brought Catalan Dumitru in at right back and just dropped Calvin Ramsey to the bench for this game. Hopefully we can put in a similar level of performance at home against a Wayne Rooney-led Celtic. Right, they've got a goal kick. They've gone short with it. And they've kind of beaten our press, but Laterna picks up on a loose touch there. Rackler back to Laterna, who cuts in field, looks for Basseri over the top. Right, Lunin goes long. And Domina back to Andreu, but Casanova's nicked it off him. He's into the box. He's taken it wide and then he's gone down. And that looks like it's a penalty. We're obviously going to have a VAR check to see whether it is or not. And the penalty's been confirmed, and new captain this season, Jose Casanova, stepping up to take it. Sends the keeper the wrong way. That's his third successful penalty of the season, his seventh goal of the season, and it gives us an early 1-0 lead. Just nice and easy into the bottom corner. Right, a throw in for them in their half. Bowie to home. Andreu, who got caught on the ball that led to the penalty. We've gone back to Lunin. Andreu again. I think we probably want him to have as much of the ball as possible given how we started, but Bowie bringing it down the right hand side. into Carpicas, who's always been a threat against us. Home into the box again. He's been a threat in many seasons against us. And there we are, their level almost immediately. The two players that have really been consistent threats every season that we've played against Celtic, Carpicas and Home, basically setting up the goal. And Domina was the one that finished it. And it's 1-1. Just didn't pressure enough. And we had three players basically on the 6-yard line when the ball was passed to Domina. Give him the time to get the shot off. Game's started to quieten down now. Not much happened since that equaliser. And there we are, half time. Nothing's really happened since that equaliser. We need to be a bit better in the second half if we're going to get the full 3 points from this game. Right, we sent the same team out for the start of the second half. Give them a chance to get us back in front before we make any substitutions. Right, a throw in for them deep in our half. Into the box. Oh, they've hit the bar. Nuvumbo. Santos nicks it off him and then goes long, but it's going to come straight back at us. Gone from distance, but well over. Right, we've made a couple of changes. We've brought a couple of the young new boys on. We've brought Luis Roberto on to play on the wide left, and we've moved Laterna to wide right and taken off Telly Basic, and we've brought Dusink on as a direct replacement for Nuevo in the centre of midfield. Right, there's very little happening in the second half, but they've got the ball now. They've got into Home, back to the right back, Carpicas back to Andreu. They've gone back to the keeper. They've tried to go out wide. Looked for a ball over the top. Hidero was there to cut it out. Back to Zebra. He goes into midfield to Hidero. Rakla. In to Kokora. Calvin Ramsey. Down the line looking for Cochise. Into the box, pulls it back. Dusink gets his first goal of the season and puts us back in front. Some nice calm play at the back, and then Ramsey just down the outside, Cochise into the box and just head up, pulls it back, and Dusink fires it into that bottom corner. Right, a free kick for them. They've played it into the middle of the pitch. Oh, Dusink's won it back. Luis Roberto running with the ball. Looking to go around the outside. Back to Santos. Into Luis Roberto in the box. Dusink into Casanova. They've scrambled it clear. Now it's gone all the way clear to Hidero. Some of these youngsters that we signed in the summer are really starting to stand up big already. I mean, it's maybe it's a stupid thing to say with only a couple of minutes left, but Santos with a throw. In looking for Casanova. Luis Roberto. Lunin chips a long one forward, but Santos gets to it. Luis Roberto has picked up a loose ball. Casanova hits the bar. Calvin Ramsey's picked off a pass there. Bassere, Cochise heads it into the box, and Lunin gets out there before Luis Roberto can get onto it. And then he goes long. Rakla wins the header. Dusink. What a ball for Luis Roberto into the box. 3-1. And this actually might be a better start than what we had last season. Given the opening day and then losing to Dundee United with these two games against Celtic and Rangers on the horizon, I was a bit concerned about how we were going to start. It's a lovely finish. But last season, we lost 2 out of the first 3 games. We lost against Celtic on the opening day and we lost to Rangers in the 3rd game of the season. This season, through 6 games, we've drawn 1, lost 1, we've won 4. So we have started better than we did last season, and hopefully once these players get truly settled in, we can kick on a bit further. But there we are, full time, 3-1 victory, and a lot of that is down to the young players that came off the bench, particularly Dusink and Luis Roberto. Dusink with the goal to put us back in front, and then the assist for Lewis Roberto. Lewis Roberto was all over the place at the end there as well. And now we just need to carry on. Now that the Champions League started, hopefully we don't get too distracted. There's not too many games with such a young squad, but things are going well. We've made it to the end of September, and league-wise, since those games against Rangers and Celtic, things have carried on in the same vein. Champions League, don't think it's going to be our year. So the first game after the Celtic game in the league was a home game against Monaco in the Champions League, and we got off to a great start. We were 1-0 up at half-time, and then as the game went on, we tired, and they got 2 goals in sort of 5 or 6 minutes to put themselves in front, and we couldn't react. We then followed that up with a trip to Livingston, and it didn't look like it was going to get off to the best of starts. Well, it didn't get off to the best of starts. They scored early on. But Thomas Dusink, who we signed for, I think, 11 million from Copenhagen, 19-year-old Danish under-21 international, came up big, 2 goals before half-time. Laterna had got 1 as well. And then Stefan Rackel scored a header in injury time just to secure the victory. We then had a trip to Man United, and as we were saying, we sold Jorge Rodriguez to Man United. Now, after the offer came in, when we were trying to tell him that we weren't going to sell him, his reason for wanting to go was he wanted to win the Champions League. We told him he would not play for Man United, and lo and behold, he's not even registered in their Champions League squad. But we didn't have the best of games. We were 2-0 down after 13 minutes. We did go straight up the other end and pull a goal back. They scored again, carved us open really for the third goal. We were sort of all over the place defensively in the first half. Second half, we were actually a lot better and a lot more secure, just we couldn't create anything ourselves. Then in the last game, we played at home to Queen's Park, got off to a great start with a goal in the first minute by Nuevo. Dimitriou scored a cracker on his left foot just before half-time. And then Basoari and Dusink again added the fourth. Really comfortable victory. And things are going pretty well as far as the league's concerned, but it is pretty tight at the top of the table. We're currently top on 19 points with a plus 19 goal difference. Hibs are joint on points with us, but we've got a better goal difference. Rangers are 3 points back. Celtic are 4 points back, but with a game in hand. So things are going pretty well. We probably aren't, we aren't as good as we were last season, certainly at this point in the season anyway. Hopefully, as the season goes by and the players gel a bit more, then we can be at the same level at some point. But I think this year's title is going to be a very, very, very tight one, right down to the end. Interesting thing was there was a news item popped up before the game against Queen's Park from the St Johnstone manager about how we like to play a possession style, and we weren't direct enough and we were impotent in attack. Now, we've scored the most goals in the league, but we're impotent in attack. It was a bit of a strange one. But do you know what? It's working at the moment. We've got the players that if we need to switch it back to the 4-2-4 at any point, that can work. But this 4-3-3 with the midfielders that we've signed to replace the players that departed in the summer seems to be working at the moment. Certainly in the league anyway. The Champions League, we might need to try something a bit different. But league-wise, it's certainly doing okay at the moment. And there we are, the end of another episode. Season 10 is underway, and this squad looks dramatically different to what it did at the end of Season 9. We have been pillaged for most of our best players, but hopefully we've managed to replace them pretty well. We are currently, as we said, top of the table. Champions League hasn't started particularly well, 2 defeats from 2, and the fixtures don't get much better in our Champions League campaign, but we are in the quarter-final of the Scottish League Cup as well, so hopefully we can progress in that. Join us next time to see if we can make it into the semi-final and to see if we can continue this run of form in the league as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.